All right, ladies and gentlemen, so today, this is the top innovations that I would love to see incorporated into professional model saxophones. Okay, let's get to it. Okay, first up, back in the day when I was in college, I had a Selmer Super Action 80 Series 2. This was over 20 plus years ago, so I don't know if they've done anything to change this at all. But on this horn, I haven't really had this issue at all. But even still, I know that this still happens, which is a lot of water that drips from the front F key and gets all on your hand. And then you wind up with like those dishwashing bathing fingers where it's all wrinkly. This was so bad at one point that my finger would actually go numb and I couldn't dry it off because it would just keep dripping from the condensation that would build up. I would love if maybe on the inside there's just some little device that just allows the water to just spread out differently. Again, on this is a Cannonball Vintage Reborn. I haven't had any kind of issues with this. And it's mostly on tenor, at least in my experience, where I got that. But if you guys have experienced that, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, let's move on. This is only a real big problem on an alto saxophone because of the size, the way the instrument sits in the case, but the infamous sticky E-flat pad. Hopefully at some point, some manufacturer will get around to redesigning the position of this key so that way it isn't the anus of the saxophone. What happens if you don't wipe it clean? You're gonna have some serious problems. So we've all been there with a stuck E-flat key that you literally have to use like two hands to unstick that thing. Causes all kinds of damage to your pads, and you could possibly wind up even bending some of the keys because the thing just sticks so much. So I would love to see like some type of innovation to fix that issue. All right, this is a spit sponge from the people that make key leaves. I haven't tried this yet, but I'm looking forward to this. Also picked up some other stuff. This care pocket thing is supposed to stop your horn from stinking. Maybe that'll, when gigs get back and I'm in a weird place where it's a lot of smoke or something, maybe I can help get that smoke out. Might want to look into something like this. I picked this stuff up on Amazon. I don't have an Amazon affiliate account. I should if I'm even talking about this stuff, but I think in the future I'm going to wind up getting one of those anyway. So, okay. In my 36 years of playing saxophone, ladies and gentlemen, there's one thing that I have never, ever actually done, and that is use the lyre holder. Now, I do not think that this is a waste of space. I actually like that this is a high mass point. This is a point where people are adding extra mass right in there to reduce excessive vibration. But what I would love to see, instead of just using a lyre for something like this, is to actually incorporate modern technology. How many people have a GoPro or some type of mini super high definition video camera? Why not rig it up in such a way where you can have a camera with a microphone? Because it takes a lot of effort to set all this stuff up to do videos like this. And if you're just out in the field, if you're on a gig, you can just press a button, have it videotape your face, press another button, have it video the gig. You can talk, you got a microphone that's right there that you can adjust. Something like this would be fantastic. The left hand pinky stack has always been a challenge and something of a disaster to a certain point for saxophonists. Clarinet has a very interesting way around this problem because for us, we've essentially just made the most difficult amount of work with the weakest finger. So if we could design something that would split the pinky work, maybe have the low C designed in such a way where the work can be split and you don't have to just use your pinky. Every saxophonist everywhere would love this. Okay, so since I got this up here, Let's talk about the palm keys. I found that on vintage saxophones, especially Selmers, the palm keys are fantastic in terms of their tone, and they're really like rock solid. And I find that on more modern saxophones, there's a type of rubbery, wavy quality to the pitch that is associated with it. I think that over time, manufacturers have adjusted things this way to basically compensate for pitch discrepancies when it comes to the palm keys. But that tone is just, man, like those vintage instruments, they really got the sound, the tone of those palm keys really locked in. I would very much like to see something like that incorporated into modern professional saxophones, which play in tune, but that timbre really missing that. And it makes the whole idea of bringing back vintage saxophones a really good idea. As you guys know, if you've been following my channel, I've been interested in basically just replacing my Cannonball with something else. And the Selmer reference saxophones, probably the 36 more than the 54, is definitely very high on that list. Okay, let's move on. Not so much a saxophone thing, but this much more concerning mouthpieces. This is my regular number 7 Supertone Master Auto Link metal, obviously. What I would love to see more of, and Runyon actually had this, and I think Ponzel maybe, but I would like to see a type of modular design with saxophone mouthpieces. Modular meaning that you can actually just change and manipulate very important characteristics of the mouthpiece, like a way that you could adjust the tip opening, and you can adjust the baffle. Remember that little insert baffle thing that Runyon had? I think they had the one with the little switch, and I think that Brillhart, they actually had a removable baffle that you could take out and put in to change. I would like to see more of that kind of stuff incorporated with mouthpieces. Like you could basically just buy essentially the mouthpiece chamber, and then you could add certain parts that you could buy separately onto the mouthpiece and get it to play basically however you want. You want to play classical, you just put those classical parts on. Something like this. Maybe in the future this could be something that could be done, because let's be honest, the prices of mouthpieces, they're going through the roof. I'm not really that into the ABS mouthpieces yet. I would like to get one that's hand finished. I think Windy City, I think they actually hand finish theirs, and I think they're offering them at really competitive prices also, and you can get some customizations with them as well. I haven't played them, but I'm definitely looking forward to getting into one of those mouthpieces. And speaking of mouthpieces, ladies and gentlemen, it's not that expensive for you to actually make your own mouthpieces. I've been looking online at some of these 3D printers. Man, they are cheaper than a lot of the mouthpieces that are on the market. I think what's really going to wind up costing you a lot of money are the scanners. It's cheaper than a Mark 6, but it's still, like, I think it's getting to a point where I don't really know where the future of expensive mouthpieces are going. I hope that manufacturers can find a way to bring the price down on some of the more expensive products to make them more affordable and attainable to a lot of people. Okay, let's move on. Getting back to that whole lyre screw thing, let me show you guys something real quick. Okay, so here I have a thermometer and a humidity reader. It is not 76 degrees in this room. In this room, it's probably closer to 65. And so some of the recordings that I do in here come in a little flat. I gotta like take all this extra time to warm it up in here. But knowing this would help me a lot, especially this top number here. You can see that it's 14. It's probably even less than that. And my reads are definitely taking a hit with the humidity being that low. So in place of that lyre, maybe have like a miniature one of these that you could just set there and that would give you the general readout of the room, knowing what reeds you should lay out and have set up, and just understanding how your saxophone is going to change over time. Especially when you're playing gigs on a cruise ship, I'd go from one lounge to the next lounge, and it would be like boiling hot in one place and freezing cold in the next, and I'd have all this condensation all over my saxophone. Being able to anticipate what those room changes are would be phenomenal. Okay, that whole lyre screw thing, man, we could really go to town with something like that, innovating new products that we can buy to just make playing the instrument a lot more convenient. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so that's all I got for you. Stay tuned. See ya.